Hey Sagittarius, Happy New Year. Welcome to 2020. It's the start of a new year and it's the start of a new decade. And you've got a lot of good, solid energy backing you up to kind of make some new decisions about things. And some of those big new radical decisions, which might give you a bit of pressure through the month, will be a lot to do with how you're making your money, how you're handling your money, and how you're dealing with it. But there are new ways, new challenges to be overcome, sure, but new strategies in play this month for you to really get a handle over your money situation. And I think there's a lot of new opportunities coming your way to kind of make more out of these things, make more. And money is definitely the big issue. We knew it from last month that it was going to happen again this month. We still have a lot of energy going on in that second house. And I know some of you are saying, wait a minute, Jupiter went into the second house. Wasn't I supposed to be receiving blessings? Wasn't Jupiter supposed to go into the second house of value, worth, money, and open the vault, reveal the treasures and say, come, Sagittarius, take your choice, take the jewels, take the money, take the cash. And you're saying, that hasn't really happened yet. You know, it hasn't. Now, it might this month. It might. If you've been really focused on getting your money situation together, you might see ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. You might see it pay off this month. You might see some big financial reward. You know, again, if you've been doing the work, because of course, even though we've Jupiter in the second house, we also have Saturn and Pluto in there, like the boss and its guard dog, you know, Saturn in there saying, yeah, you can have the money, but I'm going to make you work for it. And Pluto in there, kind of like the Rottweiler saying, you can take the money, but you have to get past me first. But by that I mean, it's this thing. Saturn isn't some nasty figure, and neither is Pluto. What they're doing, they're saying to Jupiter, okay, unlock the vault. But what we don't want to do with Sagittarius here in 2020 is to make them think that you're like some cosmic welfare system, that they keep just waiting for the coin just to fall from the sky. I'm going to show them how to maybe sustain that. I want them to stand on their own 2 feet. I want them to have confidence. I've challenged the areas in their life over the last 2 years where they weren't confident, and I've shown it to them and I've put it in their face, and they've hated me for it. I know it, but I wanted them to see where their flaws were so that they could address them and ultimately get stronger from it, so they don't have to depend, as I said, on the cosmic welfare coin, that instead they're able to be more ambitious and assertive, to stand up and say, well, I can be the boss also. If you're teaching me, Saturn, how to be the boss, then let me take that master class on how to handle my money like a boss. You know, and not just money, but my self-confidence, my self-worth, my self-esteem, how to generate that from in here and not from other people maybe saying you did a good job or you did this. No, that's starting to come from me. So I have over the last 2 years learned that masterclass of how to generate my own self-worth, self-confidence and self-esteem. But you were tough. I have to say it, you were tough. And then Pluto in there, as I said, like the Rottweiler, the guard dog saying, you can take these blessings, but you have to get over me, the fear of, you know, can you achieve this? Can you take this? Can you get over your own fears to stand up on your own 2 feet financially? Can you see that money is a source of power? I know a lot of people say money is the root of all evil, but that's a misquote. It's the love of money is the root of all evil. Money is just a tool. It's just a source. It's what you do with it that makes the difference. And again, Pluto challenging you to gain more control and understanding over quite a powerful, energetic item or thing, which is money. So again, you've been going through that major masterclass. Get more power. Know that money is power in your life. It doesn't mean that you have to become some tyrant, but it means that you have to have enough kind of confidence to play with money and to realize that it gives you power. It gives you power to live in a nice place. It gives you power to pay your bills. It gives you power to travel and to just get on the internet and say, I'm going to book that flight. It gives you a level of power that you should never be afraid of. This month with the lunar eclipse in the 8th house, there's going to be a whole lot of facing fears in general. And again, some of those fears could be about money. Some of you might be terrified. Now, not all of you, but some of you might be terrified of losing a supply of money. A client, a key client, a key something like maybe somebody gives you money regularly, like a child support, and you're terrified. It would be the worst thing to happen if I lost that particular supply of money. And with the lunar eclipse coming in, it's saying we've got to get over this fear. You can't just be only depending on one stream of income, maybe. Maybe it is time to start opening up and having a few streams of income, which we've talked about so many times, Sagittarius. Maybe it is time that you have a few different eggs in a few different baskets. Maybe it is time not to be receiving the paycheck and then blowing it all on different things. Maybe it is time to start thinking about pensions, investments, long-range things. Some of you this month, I have to say, could be dealing with trying to put a sense of order into what was very like a state of chaos to do with finances. Some of you could be dealing with taxes, insurances, maybe even inheritance money. And again, it's, well, what do I do now? Now that I've fixed the mess, now that I've handled the crisis, now that I'm sure about where I want to go next, how do I make it happen in 2020? Now, I can't tell you the answer to that, but what I can tell you is that you've got to start trusting in your own needs. And why I'm saying that is because Mars, the one who only thinks about themselves and their own immediate needs, is going into Sagittarius this month. Yeah. And that's what he's saying. Mars is going in, and it's not an act of selfishness. It's an act of saying, you decide. You've got big decisions and choices coming your way, particularly with your work, your money, your health, maybe even for some of you. You make the decision. You trust your instinct. You trust what's kind of bubbling up from within you and act on that. There's a feeling here of silence the mind and start acting on your intuition. Start acting on what you feel is the right big move to make. And maybe allow that to open up, like becoming more intuitive with your money and trusting that more. You know, what do I think is the right thing to do here? So that's very strong. And I like that. It's you want the blessings, we need the strategy. Mars in the 1st house. You want the blessings, we need to stand up for ourselves. We need to be not so overly dependent on things that we always thought were going to be dependable. Now it's like, no, leave that aside and start kind of trusting again that there are new sources of money, new ways. Now, I'll say this, these are general readings, so I don't really tend to get super specific because it won't relate to everybody, but I'll go there on this one occasion. There are some of you I know over the last 2 years who have been doing a kind of work that is now causing you some sort of physical pain. So you work with your hands, you're, say, a technician or a stylist or something, hairstylist, and you find that you're getting carpal tunnel. You speak for a living, you teach for a living, and you find that you're getting, hoarse when you speak. You drive or you sit at a computer or something for a living, and you find that your back can't take it anymore, or your eyes are getting, can't cope with the computer screen anymore. Well, here's what I'd ask you to do. If you can promise one thing, I know for some of you that it might be a really difficult jolt for some of you to stop doing work that's actually physically hurting you, because you're saying, but what would I do then? What would I do? I'm not qualified to do anything else. This is a real month, and this year is a real year with Uranus going direct in your 6th house of making a new plan and a new strategy to change your work slightly. It doesn't mean take a new course of career, not necessarily. It just means work in a different way where it's not hurting your physical body. And you're saying, but that's so easy. I've put in 20 years of maybe being a hairstylist, for example. I can't stand anymore, all day standing. I've got varicose bloody veins now, and my hands are hurting me. But what do I do? What's the alternative? And I could very simply say, well, maybe you could teach. And you say, but you need coin to get the certification for that. I don't have the coin right now to get the thing I need to do something different. Well, maybe again, that's where we come up with the plan. Mars and Sagittarius, the strategist. Let's come up with a real plan to figure out new ways of making that coin to get that certificate that takes you out of that work that's hurting you somehow. And you can do it, my love. You really can. And with the eclipse in the 8th house, there's a real moment of kind of saying, I can't depend on anybody else to do this for me. But what I do now need to do is to maybe find new resources, new people who can help me, new ways to generate this coin, maybe to go up a gear, to study something more so I have the qualification or the certification to take me out again of this work that might be physically draining me, stressing me, hurting me, or causing even damage to me, long-term damage. Because there's that phrase, you don't want to be the person who spends all their health to get wealthy, to ultimately then spend all that wealth to get healthy. So we need a new kind of direction here. And what's beautiful is that these new directions are coming your way this month. There are definitely doors of opportunity coming your way. Now, I gave it one shuffle there, and this card came out, the Moon. Moon in the 8th house, releasing, letting go, healing after a drama or a crisis or a painful situation in order for you to clear your mind, body and soul so you can think clearly again for this new year, this new decade, But we also have a new moon in the 3rd house of making new decisions. Doors opening to you to do something new. So for me, Sagittarius, just tuning into the energy, it just feels like if you can trust, and with Uranus and Taurus, remember Taurus sometimes represents stubbornness. If you can, for some of you, get out of a feeling of being stubbornly stuck with your money or the work that you do or a health thing, and to find radical new ways to improve that, then you're onto a winner and the blessings will start coming in, okay? So let's get some more cards going on. Now, other things that might be happening, High Priestess there. Other things that might be happening is, I want you to watch out for something. This is a month where you have wonderful new motivation. Mars there, drive, energy, force, motivation, giving you life to make these new decisions. But I do feel that you might have a thing with the people who are telling you you can't do stuff, or the people who are somewhat putting you down or being a little bit contrary, difficult, challenging. What they might be doing for you is acting as a kind of catalyst to put more flames under your feet. It's almost like people who oppose you this month are actually, what they don't know they're doing is motivating you to get more, to get ahead. The more they test you, the more they challenge you, the more they needle you, the more determined you seem to become to make these radical changes in your life. So it's like they try to put you down, and in the end, they're just gasoline to push you further. So that's interesting. I do also sense that somebody could be a real pain in the ass this month, a real pain in the ass, and they could come out of nowhere, out of the shadows, and deliberately misconstrue something that you say, deliberately misinterpret something that you're sharing, teaching, talking about. They deliberately argue against you. But it's coming from a kind of an emotional place, that there's no great level of logic to it. There's no great level of thought or intelligence to it, but rather it's all emotional. They just want you to be wrong. But in fact, this again is something that acts as a moment where you say, be gone with your drama, be gone with your emotional argument. That's what I feel. Somebody coming at you with an emotional argument, but no logic or sense or wisdom at all behind it. But like I said to you a few moments ago, whoever this key person is, they seem, again, it's like the straw that broke the camel's back. It seems to be that thing of, and now, after that ridiculous charade, after that nonsense, after that just like a spew of total mind crap, deliberately trying to misconstrue something I've said, after that, you know what? I don't care. I'm just more motivated now than ever to push ahead with what I want and what I choose to do. It's almost like somebody is telling you you're wrong. Now, we did touch upon that last month. Remember that? Somebody saying, or you kind of coming up to that thing where you're saying, I was right. I knew I was right. Again, another little challenge coming this month. But since last month, you're growing stronger in that thing of, it's almost like not listening to other people because they're not making sense. I'm not listening to that friend, to that person, maybe even in some cases to that brother, sister. I'm not listening to them while they're so emotional or so dramatic. They don't make sense when they're trying to talk to me about something. I'm doing my very best to be patient, to relate to them, to be relatable to them, but they're not. They just seem to want to always misinterpret what I'm saying. And you know what? I'm tired of that shit. I'm tired. I can't help that. I can't help that. And it's almost like their confusion and their mind mess seems to almost, it's like snaps you into a mental clarity. Because it's almost like a division. Look how messy they are. And look how clear I am. So they are acting almost like a mirror, or not a mirror, maybe as a proof that you're much clearer in your judgment, in your wisdom, than you probably had given yourself credit for. So again, that's another weapon in the arsenal there, Mars in Sagittarius, to kind of help you make, like, trust your own decisions again, trust your own opinion, trust your own thoughts again. So that's very strong. Let's get a few more cards going out there. You know what I'm feeling as I'm tuning into the end? This thing of a lot of messiness around you. Emotional messiness. Emotional entanglements. Emotional, like somebody has decided to take their brain, on vacation for the day or the week or the month. And instead it's just like this garbled emotional mess. And again, this thing of, it shows you how centered you've become because you're not affected by the emotional chaos of others around you. So that's actually very, very nice. Let me get these cards going on here. Yeah, I'm just looking down at the chart here. So, a few cards coming out. I wouldn't be surprised, again, this thing of doors opening up for you. As it's almost like as a door closes, another one opens up. That's very strong. Some of you with the lunar eclipse, which is happening on January 10th, at times, and I'm going to give you a heads up on this, you might feel it. Remember this if you do feel it. It might feel like a lot of doors have just been closed on you. And there's a feeling of, well, this is it. What now? What now? I can go no further. This is it. This is all my fears playing out now. This is everything I didn't want to happen. playing out now. And then you're thinking, what now? And then for me, what I'm tuning into and feeling is then the good stuff starts happening. It's almost like you had to release somebody or release something, completely let something not be a source of fear in your life. And then once that's released, there's more space for the good stuff to come in. So again, you might see that play out in different ways. I'm just waiting on 3 more cards now, my love. Yeah. 2 more. But you know, we've the North Node of Destiny in the 8th house where this lunar eclipse is. And again, remember that you're divinely protected always here. But it's this thing of having to let go of something that you absolutely depended on, a person or a situation or a financial thing. But then it's almost like a rebirth. 8th house always represents the transformation and a rebirth. It's almost like once you let go of that connection or that dependency, then newer things come. Yeah, it's very strong. Let me get these last 2 cards. Okay, strength came out and a new union with somebody. I like that. I like that a lot. So, Sagittarius, let's go over to your big grand, ta-da, your overview. So, here's what the moon seems to be kind of showing to you. It's revealing a lot to you. And one of the things it's revealing is this state of inner, like a lack of trust in your own inner wisdom, a lack of trust in your own inner voice. Now, we did talk a little bit about that last month, but it's again this thing, the moon, the lunar eclipse is saying you've got to really start trusting in your own wisdom again. This is full moon, this is new moon. You've got to start trusting in your wisdom again. And you've got to start, even in some cases, it's almost like letting go. Now this is tricky because I'm going to go there. It's not for everybody, but I will go there. For some of you, it could be letting go of a strange connection that you have between yourself and a family member. Does it mean cutting the cord or anything like that, chopping them out of your life? Not necessarily, but for some of you, there's a feeling of maybe an unhealthiness between you and another family member has to be looked at, examined, and dealt with to see, again, this thing like we talked about last month about, will you please start trusting? Is it a family member or somebody that you would consider very close? Somebody that you should be able to trust. It's like something, it's like an emotional imbalance happening there where you need to, now this is very strong because as I opened that door up, I got a huge amount of energy and I'm doing my best to try to decipher it. It's like, bottom line, whatever you're being shown this month, whatever's happening between you and a certain family member perhaps, or somebody that you deeply care about, you've got to start trusting in your own instincts, your own wisdom. You've got to start knowing when you're right, feeling it on a physical level and trusting it. For some of you, if you do have to release some bond with a family member or somebody that you care very deeply for, then trust your wisdom. You know how to handle this. Don't allow yourself to be confused again by what they might be bringing, or the chaos or the drama or the situation or the hurt or the pain that might be brought up here. Don't let that knock you off balance. And again, don't let it take you away from some central or core spiritual wisdom that you've got inside you. That's very deep. Even holding those cards, I felt that. It's almost like what the universe wants to show you is how you've been thrown off balance by the strong emotions of other people, by the strong moods of other people, by other people's crisis, by other people's drama, by other people's persistent emotional unhealthiness. And this is just as we go into 2020 to say they might be unhappy, emotional, maybe even a little unbalanced emotionally, but I'm not. I'm not. I'm fine. I'm okay. Ooh, as I'm holding up these cards, I feel strongly. I'm going to go down this route for some of you. I know it's not for all of you, but I'll say it. For some of you, there might have been some fear or stress that you were kind of inheriting, like a family thing. Some of you might say a family curse, but more like family behavior or something. It's like inheriting a family way of being that isn't somewhat healthy. And there's a real moment right from the start of the month where you say, no, you're more centered than this. You don't have to fall into a certain family pattern. And again, for a small few of you, it's just because maybe a family member is emotionally, has a lot of unresolved business there. It doesn't mean that it's going to rub off on you too. Not necessarily. So take the fear out of something there. The fear out of like somebody else's strong emotion rubbing off on you in a negative way. And I think you're going to be given the strength to deal with that, because beside that is success. So that's very strong, and I'm not really seeing it in the energies here on the chart. I do see Venus going into the 4th house, Neptune is there, but it's almost like one of the major triumphs that's going on for you this month is the big clearing out of somewhere where there wasn't love. And again, that could have been coming from family, from your childhood, from your past, or somebody that you had a relationship with in the past, and realizing that the love has run dry there, and not again being so emotionally thrown by that. It's like a lot of work has gone into having a greater sense of inner stability. Now, maybe over the last 2 years, that's what I've been doing. Everybody's telling me I've been working on the money, when actually I've been working on not being like the negative ones in my family, or not having the negative script that some family members might have, not being so worried about falling into a hole financially, maybe, that some of my family members have. I don't have to follow that same pattern. And that's where my success was coming about. And I really feel that, as I said that, yeah, sure, you've been getting control over your money and all that, but for so many of you, it's like, forget the money. I wanted my confidence back. The confidence that was taken away from me years ago. The confidence, again, to do with family or people that you loved in the past had taken that confidence from you. I got my success. To hell with money. Stop talking about money. My success was in getting my confidence back and staying centered while everybody else, maybe around me or from my past, was all behaving unusually or behaving in a way where I said, I'm not going to be like them. Now that hit me. That really hit me when I went into that energy, that feeling of, that's what has been going on underneath all of this. Sure, money, but not really. It was my confidence to break out of old childhood programming, old family programming, the weird relationships I had with certain family members. Maybe some of you coming from a background where there was no love, and you finally having a successful moment where you're saying, I'm fucking over it. Excuse my language. I'm over it. And that was my success. And now I'm free to break from that and transform from that. Lunar eclipse in the 8th house, I'm not holding on to that anymore. I don't have the shackles or the bonds tying me to that negative thing, maybe from the past, anymore. Well, that came in strong. I even had to stop myself there because it felt like, and there's more, and there's more, and there's more. And this is the stuff that nobody is talking about. This is what nobody would say. This is eighth house, the thing that was kept a taboo, the thing that was swept under the rug, the thing that was secret, the thing that we didn't want to have to talk about, the thing that I knew if I faced it, then it would come up like a flame, and I didn't know if I was able to transform from it. Well, apparently the good news is you can, and you have, and you've gotten that success. Wow, that was strong. That was strong. And you know, congratulations to you. Sometimes dealing with those deep, heavy emotions that were buried, and having to face them. That's a blessing. Jupiter going into your second house of being stronger and more confident. Maybe that was the blessing you've been waiting for. And us people here on the other side of YouTube going on and on and on about money. The money might come later. You're saying, shit, does this mean there's no money? No, that might come later. But before the money comes, it's almost like this was the thing I had to mine for. This was the treasure I had to go down and pull up. This was what I had to find. I went in and I brought out a handful of gems. This is what was being crystallized inside me. And these, like Star Trek, like dilithium crystals, are now my source of power. When I can see the things of the past that have been transformed into something more beautiful and valuable, this is my source of power now. This is how I can move on. So you've dug deep and you've mined for that dilithium crystal, and now you're ready to go where no Sagittarian has gone before, because you have that endless supply of rich inner confidence and power. I was not expecting that to go down this route. I definitely wasn't, but there you go. There you go. Sometimes what you don't expect to happen is the real treasure. Maybe. But mid-month, let's move on. Mid-month, definitely opportunities. This is quite an Aries card. For me, it's having conversations with people that are opening up new doors for you, and potentially new doors to get you back on track financially, being independent financially. It's like a conversation with a network of people, or a conversation maybe even with an Aries sun, moon, or ascendant. It's like they're motivating you or getting you to a place, like they have a friend of a friend who can open a door for you, get you that interview, get you in somewhere. This is business. This is just standing there and saying, I'm waiting for the doors to open. And if the doors don't open, I'm motivated in myself to push to make those doors open, because I want this thing to be able to stand on my own 2 feet. But not in the way I have been doing. I've been standing on my own 2 feet, taking care of myself, but like last month, but in a survival mode. Now I'm ready, I'm motivated, I'm inspired to go out and start thriving, like we said last month. So there definitely is an opportunity with new work. And again, it's not like there's a door, it's open, ta-da, you have everything. To me, it's more like somebody giving you an intelligent opportunity. It's like they're saying, you know what, why don't you go to a night class and get that certification? Here's how you do it. And you know that there's a company that will help you pay for it while you work. It's like somebody has a lot of answers on how you can get, again, this thing financially on your own 2 feet, but more like confident on your own 2 feet, where you feel like you're thriving. So have these conversations, speak to people, get their knowledge, get their wisdom, get chatting, because somebody has a key that unlocks something very important for you. But for them, it's like, it means nothing to them. For them, it's like, oh, well, it means nothing. I'll help you with that. So somebody's been very generous or very kind, I feel, mid-month, in I say again, introducing you to somebody, a friend of a friend, or here's how you should do this, or check out that website. There's a key opener here, so watch out for the one with the key. They are arriving. Now, Mercury in Sagittarius in a state of chaos, and again, this thing of, we touched upon it earlier, somebody coming in and deliberately trying to misinterpret your words, deliberately trying to trip you up, deliberately trying to, you know what it feels like, Sagittarius? They're blaming you for being right because they're wrong. It's almost like, how dare you be right? How dare you be moving ahead? How dare you be getting new opportunities? How dare you be opening doors to make money? How dare you be making these big decisions? How dare you be changing the game somewhat? How dare you be moving ahead of me? And I'm going to make it uncomfortable for you, because as you're moving forward, you're showing me that I'm staying stuck and backwards. And it's like it's your fault now that something you've said has like triggered me, because it's showing me how I'm losing and you're getting ahead. And that's really what it sums it up. That's the feeling I get. Whoever this person or people, for me it feels like one person, whoever they are coming in deliberately trying to be that spanner in the works, that deliberate asshole, as I said, who verbally, it's something you've written, something you've said, they deliberately take it up all wrong. It's that emotional splurge. It's nothing you've done. It's nothing you've done wrong. It's that they can't cope with how you are doing better than them and making newer choices in your life. They can't deal with it. They can't deal how you're able to brush things off and say, I'm transforming, lunar eclipse in the 8th house, I'm ready to meet a new target. And by doing that, by being more positive, they can't cope with that. In some cases, it might be somebody, that awful thing of they won't cheer you on as you progress because they can't bear that you're forcing them to look at something in their own selves or forcing them to look at their own life. And they don't want to do it. They don't want to see it. And after that you say, look, it's not my problem, not my problem. And again, like I said earlier, their deliberate defiance in not wanting to see the truth of something perhaps spurs you and motivates you on further to just say, here's another reason why I'm leaving all of this behind. Okay. And you'll get through it. Not only will you get through it, but you've Mars and Sagittarius. If they do come at you and try to even fight dirty, it's the wrong thing to do to a Sagittarius in general, but it's certainly the wrong thing to do when Mars is in Sagittarius. It's a bad move. Now, coming towards the end of the month again, you weighing up and coming to some sensible conclusion about somebody who again has tried to be tricky with you. It's almost the feeling, Sagittarius, is like you've tried to point out a truth, or you've just tried to do something, share something, teach something. And again, that thing of somebody has deliberately tried to misinterpret or deliberately tried to be that asshole, okay? And you're just sitting there saying, you know what? I'm not going to be bothered by this. I'm going to be cool, calm. I'm going to try to see their point of view, but I'm not going to be triggered. I just feel I'm not going to be triggered by that. I also feel towards the end of the month, it's like somebody determined to want you to go down a course of action. And you're wise enough here to pull back and say, let me think about that. There's something I don't like about the path that you're being brought down. Wow, the energy is so strong, Sagittarius. It's so strong. It's just like you're pulling the whole month. It's like you're pulling away from people who want you to stay small, pulling away from people who don't want you to transform, who don't want you to heal, who don't want you to do better, who don't want you to go into some grand new adventure in your life. And it's going to hurt. And they're going to get more and more desperate for you to stay stuck. But I just feel the pulling away and being totally okay with that. It's a huge healing with that. And this is the energy of healing your demons, having the strength, the power, and the courage to finally heal and to finally say, I face that. Yeah. I face that, because there's a new union. Now, it could be a love union. Maybe some of you are very inspired and motivated by a new love coming into your life, or in your current relationship, the love being renewed by the end of the month. Maybe you feel more, let's do this together. We're in this together. I feel more inspired, motivated, stronger when I'm just focusing on you and not focusing on all of them. So there are people, your partner, a new partner, or somebody that you really trust and care for, encouraging you to move on and make new decisions in your life. They want you to succeed. They want you to do better. But again, this thing of take a huge leap of courage, Sagittarius, please, going into 2020, to form new unions with more positive people, healthier people, and to maybe take up an offer that's presented to you that feels like it's new, it's fresh. You can put your force and your passion into it, and it's inspiring. Maybe even for some of you on a super literal level, it could be new love with a Leo sun, moon, or ascendant that really ignites a flame. It's almost like we're leaving the month with you feeling loved up and reignited. So I like it. I like it. A lot of good choices coming your way. Excuse me, Sagittarius. A lot of new choices coming your way, but it seems to require this real forceful separation. And the forceful separation gives you that feeling of, I'm standing up for myself and I'm standing on my own 2 feet again. And this was the success that I was looking for. The inner confidence that I really needed. So my love, very interesting month ahead for you, and I'm going to leave it at that. And you know, of course, these are just the general energies. To get into the nitty-gritty, what's going on in your relationship for the new year? The singles, is there a Leo sun, moon, or ascendant coming your way this new decade to bring you love, money, career? Big changes happening there. Family, also some changes happening there. Friends, and everything else that we don't talk about. You know where to come by now, my love. Come to the Vimeo readings, the deep read, down there in the description box. There's the link. Click into it. Come on over and we'll open up this month in a much deeper way, in a more focused way. And I'll see you over there. And if not, I'm going to leave it at that. And as always, my love, Happy New Year. And I will leave you with all my love. And a great, great, great big kiss from me to you. Have a powerful month, my beautiful. Mwah. Until next month, my gorgeous.